Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Intuitive Angling. And man, I really appreciate you guys coming by the channel to spend some time with me watching the video. Really appreciate that. And guys, today I'm going to show you one of my favorite setups of all time as far as to fish a swim bait on, and that's using this Megabass okashira jig head with the spinner on it. Guys, this thing is good all through the summer, all through the winter time. There's two different patterns I want to share with you guys, but you'd probably be interested in the summer pattern with it in today's video, and then you can also use it throughout the winter. So we're going to get into that in today's video. Also, guys, just a quick reminder, we do have our summer Fish the Moment lake map breakdowns up on the website. I'll put my Fish the Moment link, the fishthemoment.com link in the description of this video. And these are maps I built for Fish the Moment that gives you 40 GPS waypoints all across the lake that you can begin your search at. It's a really good tool for learning more about your favorite lake or a lake you've never been to. And I think you guys would really like to check them out. So again, I'll put that link in the description. Okay guys, this is a Megabass bait. It's been around for several years. I'm gonna tell you a little story behind this, how I really first saw how effective it was. We were doing a Megabass, like a annual meeting for Megabass. And Edwin Evers and I were fishing together one day. We were down at Lake Hudson in Oklahoma, and this okashira screwhead had just came out. And anyway, Edwin started throwing this thing right next to along boat docks, coupling it up with this Megabass 3-inch Spark shad. I'm gonna show you guys how to rig it in a second. And he started catching them, swimming this thing next to those boat docks in that off-colored water. And I just couldn't believe it because Lake Hudson is pretty dirty water. But I saw how effective it was with the unique look that this thing has, like a jig head spinner combo. And I started incorporating it into my fishing in different type of structures. And I'm going to talk about that here in the video and the different type of places that work. So first of all, let's talk about how to rig this. Again, this is the Megabass okashira head. It's got the regular fish head, jig head, but it's got the spinner on it. It's got a nice, wire keeper on it here. Really good nano-coated hook. It's super, super quality jig head. And then I couple it up with this Megabass 3-inch Spark shad. And guys, I'll link both of these in the description of this video, my Tackle Warehouse link, if you guys would like to pick some up and try them. You can use some other, some guys use a little Kitech on it. I just like the Spark shad. It really matches it up good. The first thing I do, this is just a preference, is I take the eyes off, because when I thread this thing on, I don't want to have 4 eyes on the bait. It probably doesn't make any difference, but it's just sort of a confidence thing with me. So, make sure that I'll take these eyes off of it. And sort of one of those things that just, I'm really sort of a stickler for that type of attention to detail, even though it may not make any difference. But anyway, one of the important things to do, guys, is when you're threading this on, try to keep the hook pretty high, close to the top of the flat part. Don't go like through the middle of the bait, because you lose too much of your hook gap. So try to run it just underneath the plastic, and really, really take your time to come perfectly through the center of it, because if you don't come perfectly through the center, the bait will not run straight. So really take the time when you're rigging it to come in there straight. And then you want it leveled out. And this is the way it's going to look when it's rigged up here. Nice little edible tidbit. And also make sure when you put your swim bait up against the propeller here, don't put it up there where it's too tight against it, or the propeller won't spin. So that's how it looks like there. It looks just like a little minnow in the water. So here's the structures I've done the best in. I'm going to talk a little bit about the summer, then I'll talk about the winter. The 2 different structures that I fish in the summertime of the year, from about now up until mid-September, is any bridge piers. Guys, if you have bridge piers on your lake, this is the best bridge pier lure you'll ever use out there. Just toss it out there, count it down to whatever depth that you think the fish are at, and just reel it in, just like with a slow medium retrieve. The thing will just sort of waggle through the water, the tail will wobble, the blades will wobble. That's my number 1 structure. And the other structures are any type of deeper floating docks, like marina docks. The seawalls out in front of marinas, the deeper sides of marina docks, any type of deep floating boat dock is going to be really, really good in the summertime for this. And those are things that have worked really consistently for me for the last 3 years. Now, as the water cools off a little bit, and you start to get like in December, January, and February, this is another bait that's going to work really good and sort of complements your jerk baits and your other type of lures. But take the okashira setup here, and get out there on any type of secondary point in some of the major creek arms. So it can work on the main lake too, but I really prefer the secondary creeks. Pick 2 or 3 creek arms out and start running whatever secondary points you have in those creeks. It doesn't matter if they're steep points, flat points, or whatever. Throw the bait out there, let it hit the bottom. And once it hits the bottom, I usually like to key in anywhere between, say, 15 to 30 foot deep, depending upon the visibility of the water I'm in. Once it hits the bottom, just start slow crawling it right along the bottom. You don't want to like hit in the bottom. Try to keep it at like 6 inches off the bottom. It's just super, super effective in the wintertime. And probably my favorite type of deal is if you got some type of a little bit flatter gravel point with water visibility in that 4 foot range. That's like money, especially if you have some spotted bass in the lake. This is a really good spotted bass lure. It comes in quite a few different colors. Like I said, you can check them out in my Tackle Warehouse link, different colors, but this is probably my favorite setup here, the little, clear shad looking one. Normally I'm fishing it on 6 to 8 pound test Seaguar and Vizex fluorocarbon line, 6 foot, 11-inch Megabass whip snake rod. And just experiment with it. I know that, when Chris Aldane was with Megabass, he did really good on this thing, just fishing it in different times of the year, just fishing it across shallow rocky points, keeping it up higher in the water column, especially if you got some wind coming in there. Really anywhere you think a spinnerbait or swim bait is going to work, this thing is going to be really good. And there's just something about at times that little blade just triggers those fish to bite when nothing else will. So anyway, guys, Megabass okashira screwhead, Megabass Spark shad will get you some good bites. So hope it helps out. We'll see you guys.